Hi. Uh, been MIA for a while. I realize I have not been in the best headspace the last few months. I'm okay. I feel like I'm on the verge of good, which hasn't been true for a while now. Um, I thankfully sorry, Jess is in play mode right now. Um, I have not had any suicidal ideation, so therapy works. It feels like it will never work until it does, and then you're like, holy fuck, it works. um, so keep going. And turns out there's no such thing as healed from depression. At least I haven't gotten there yet. I thought I had. I was hopeful I had. But I now have learned that it's possible to get out of a dark place. It's possible to go through a bad period and have your depression flare up, have it not be fun, have it feel pretty terrible, but not she's getting into a box now, but not actually be the end of the world. I knew the whole time, even while my depression was hurting, and making it impossible to think clearly, making it impossible to sleep on any kind of normal schedule. Like, I can't tell you how many times I just didn't sleep at all. A lot. Um, Even through all of that, I still felt hopeful, and I knew that I was attached to my life and I was going to fight to get it back. And um, I never used to feel that way. So therapy works. Keep going. It, I hate to break it to you if you don't already know this, but when it comes to therapy, at least, things are going to get worse. Things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. There's no way around it. That I know of. If I knew of one, I would have. I looked for ways to not feel the way I felt. But if you actually want to deal with whatever it was that traumatized you, then you're going to have to deal with what traumatized you. And that seems to be the overwhelming source of mental illness that I've encountered, anyways. Not the point, though. So, what I did want to talk about was Good Omens. I just finished sorry. When I said that, I felt very like TV presenter. Good Omens. Like, sorry. It felt weird. And in case it felt weird to you on the receiving end, I just wanted to acknowledge that it was weird. And now we'll move on. All right. Fucking great show. Holy shit. I had tried starting to watch it, I think when it first came out. And I don't know why, but I did not get far. I had no attention span. It was probably, it had to have been before I even met Ben. So this was a while ago. I think this was like, whatever. I wasn't in the right headspace then. Yay, I was today, and I binged the whole thing. Yes, I know it's a Friday. I have not been working lately. Depression. Okay. silly goose. Sorry. Of course, now she's just sitting. I swear, she's been moving around. And that metallic sound is the tin that my phone is currently propped up on. Okay. Yeah. Honestly, watching this show today, I think it helped me have the moment of clarity I needed in order to feel like I feel like I've got resolution right now. I feel like this could be wishful thinking. Tomorrow I may wake up and just be miserable again. So we'll see how long it lasts. But it feels like I might actually be okay now. I might be like able to get back to work. And I mean, I'm making a video for the first time in months that I like intend to post. I've made videos to myself and it's a whole nother story. Okay. Anyways, Good Omens, based on a book by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, written by Neil Gaiman, starring David Tennant and Michael Sheen. Like, come on, the chemistry between those two, they are so good together. I fucking love them as a duo. And they had this this little show. I think it came out on Hulu. Or maybe it was just web-based. I can't remember anymore. But it was during quarantine and it was about quarantine. Google it. It's worth it. You'll love it. Yeah, I've loved David Tennant since Doctor Who. He will forever and always be my favorite Doctor. He is the image that comes to mind when I think of the Doctor. And I've loved Michael Sheen's work for a long time now, but I have never seen him in a role where he got to just be so adorable. And like with both of them, the humanity is just pouring out the whole throughout their performances. I don't know. It's fantastic. I'm not doing a good job of describing how they're very, very good. And best bit, God is Frances McDormand. Yes. Obviously, it's Frances McDormand. Fucking love it. All right, so premise of the show: it is the end days. Armageddon is nigh, and you've got so Tennant as a demon and Sheen as an angel, and they are both playing a big role in the end days. And there is a coming battle between angels and demons, a war that they are trying to either ignite or prevent, depending on which side you're on. Take a guess where the angel falls on that one. It's brilliant, hilarious, and really beautiful. Really beautiful. Really, the Crowley and Angel are so good together. Anyways, it's had me And if you've seen it, you totally understand why. It's had me thinking about um, hell, heaven, good, evil, um, the end days, which feel very nigh. um, like any second now, we're going to break out into nuclear war. Putin, I don't know, gets a bellyache and decides, all right, let's do it now. Okay, we're all dead. Um, that feels possible, probable. I don't know, probable. It feels way too possible. Climate change is here. It's happening. We're in it. How bad it's gonna get is yet to be determined. But we are on course for really fucking bad. um, and we are already seeing some horrific outcomes. Yeah. It's gonna be a fun few decades coming up, y'all. Yeah. So, I mean, I've been thinking about what is powerful enough to prevent the end days. What could we possibly do? And I keep coming back to the same answer, no matter how many times I think about any of this, no matter how many times I just keep coming back. And I feel it makes me feel cheesy sometimes. But love is the answer, y'all. It really is. It's the lack of love in the world that has brought us to this point. It's a lack of love for each other, a lack of love for ourselves, a lack of love for the planet we inhabit, the nature around us that supports, sustains, gives us life. That's how we got to where we are right now, by not loving each other and ourselves and everything around us. And how we can get to a point where we do love, I think it has to start with ourselves. And I'm saying that as somebody who has only learned how to love themselves literally in the last 9-10 months. Like you can, all right, I'm thinking out loud. This is my process. So where I was about to go was you have to love yourself, which is true. But I know it's possible for you to love yourself without knowing that you love yourself. Like, I did it. I lived like that. I felt no love for myself. I hated myself. I hated my life. I hated everything about being alive. Except other people, animals, all of that. Like, I could love everyone else but me. But I went to therapy. I talked with my friends. I got medication. I could not have done any of those things if some part of me didn't know deep down that I was worth fighting for. That even if it felt completely hopeless, even if I felt so broken and so unlovable and unworthy, there was still some part of me that was hoping and fighting. So some part of me loved me enough to get me into therapy and get me on medication and make me talk to my friends about the pain I was feeling and what I was going through. So we have to find enough love for ourselves, even if it's just the slightest little glimmer of hope. That's love. And we have to try to find it and hold on to it, not let it die out for ourselves. And then for the people in our lives, the people that we claim to love, we have to show up for them. We have to actively love them because they are all going to be fighting their own battles. Some people, some lucky bastards get to grow up just loving themselves all the way along and just, yeah, of course I'm lovable. My parents totally loved me. I'm good. I didn't have childhood trauma. You are fucking lucky. But for the rest of us, it's not so easy. So let's do everything we can to be there for each other. Even if, I know that when you are fighting your own personal battle with demons, there are times you cannot, there is nothing, you have no more to give. You have nothing. You are tapped out. But there are going to be people in your life who are not at their lowest low in that moment, who you can tap in and they can help carry that weight with you. They can hold a flashlight in the darkness for you. They can hold up a mirror and start cleaning it off so you can see your real reflection, how amazing you really are. We have to, when we are in moments where we're not drowning in our own pain and we have capacity to spread love, to share love, to give some of that hope to someone else, we have to take advantage of it every single chance we get. And I know that sounds like a big ask, but it's not. Like, I feel like I'm about to be like, oh, aren't I perfect? I promise that's not what I'm trying to do. Forever, really. I think this is why I'm not perfect. I learned a lot of this from my mom, like watching her interact with strangers and always showing kindness, always showing empathy. It was a really important lesson for me as a kid. And it's definitely become a huge part of who I am. And I've got this mission that is just core to who I am. Like it has fueled every aspect. All of my major decisions have been fueled by this need to at least try to lessen the pain in the world as much as I possibly can. So every time I have any opportunity to lift someone up in any way, whether it's commenting on a piece of jewelry or clothing or a great hairstyle or and I'm not saying oh, that's a hot outfit, not like that. No. But something like, oh, cool t-shirt, or oh, I love your haircut, or that's such a great watch. Whatever. Anything. Or it can be if it's someone that you actually get to have any sort of meaningful interaction with and you're not just basing it off of what you can see of someone as you walk past them. If you have a chance to talk to them like a human being, when you're checking out at a grocery store or whatever, and someone's at the register, actually talk with them, ask them how their day's going, how much longer do you have left on your shift, what's what's the craziest thing that's happened today? Or what are you looking forward to when you get home? Or whatever. Like, we've stopped caring about each other and recognizing each other's humanity. And it's killing us, all of us. Look around. Everybody's so depressed. Suicide rates have gone through the roof. Been there, tried that. We're all miserable. But we have this opportunity. We're in this incredible moment in human history, truly, where, just the phone that I am talking to right now, that's this big, I hold that thing in my hand and I have access to every story that anyone's ever told in any concrete way, any way that's been captured. I have everything that's been written down, everything, every movie, every TV show, every piece of music, every piece of artwork that's ever been photographed. Like, it is all right there at our fingertips, which means we are right now have access for the first time. I'm not talking about right now. This has been true for a few months, but like, I'm talking about in terms of human history in this era, we now have access to anyone and everyone's story. Anyone who has shared a story, we can learn from them. Stories are how we learn. Stories are vital to our survival. How do you think early humans passed on what they learned about which berries were poisonous and which ones made you feel great, and which mushrooms would kill you, which would make you see God, and which would fill up your tum-tum? Like, how do you think we learned these things? And in eras before we were able to write down guidebooks and have, libraries and phones at our fingertips to tell us all of this, we told stories. We passed along that information through stories. And it couldn't have been that people were just saying, like, oh, look for the gray mushroom, that one's going to be the trippy one. Look for the brown mushroom, and that one's going to be the one you want to eat. Like, they had to have been sharing this information in memorable ways so that it stuck and it was able to be passed down through the generations. Because if you hear an interesting story, you remember that forever. If you watch an interesting movie, you remember it forever. But if, like, you just read a newspaper article that doesn't, like, hit you in any way, you don't care about the topic, and you've got enough to worry about, you forget. Anyways, that's my theory. So because we have access to each other's stories, we also have access to each other's humanity. We can hear the pain in each other's voices. We can learn from each other's experiences. We can have perspective, see how other people live in ways we never ever would have before. I think I've mentioned this before, but it was an important moment in my life, so I'll mention it again. When I watched The Real World San Francisco, sorry, Jazzy's on the cat tree that this is perched on right now, hence the tail you just saw. When I watched The Real World San Francisco as a little kid growing up in small town Massachusetts, Pedro Zamora was the first person that I really got to know. I never I never met him. I wish. I would thank him and hug him so hard. But he was the first gay person that I got to hear his story, and I cared about him. I was invested in him. I wanted the best for him. And then the worst happened. We knew it was going to. If you are unfamiliar, he died of AIDS in the 90s. And for a lot of people, myself included, he was the first person with AIDS that we felt we really knew and that we cared about. Hearing his story, I do not think it is an exaggeration to say it helped to shape who I am. Having this feeling of, I want to say connection. I never met him, but I don't know, when you hear someone's story, when you are welcomed into someone's reality, which is, I guess, also part of why I'm doing this. Oh, Pedro, you keep giving. You are the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah, it can have such a huge impact on how people perceive demographic groups that maybe they have never been exposed to, or communities that they really are completely ignorant about through no fault of their own. Because we all of us, we know the areas that we know, and none of us are ever going to be able to be experts on every culture and subculture and subculture out there. There's just way too much. But we know the nooks that we're in. And it's keeping all of those nooks siloed, keeping walls up between them. Walls built with hate and vitriol. That's preventing us from seeing each other's humanity and recognizing each other at the core. I mean, every single one of us, we want love. We want acceptance. We want to be able to be who we are and not feel like we have to pretend to be anything else, because that is fucking exhausting. Oh, God. So exhausting. And we're losing it. We can't handle it anymore. Humanity has reached a breaking point. Clearly. Okay, I lost the thread. I feel like I'm losing my mojo here. So I'm almost 30 minutes in. I guess we'll say that's more than long enough. If you've made it this far, holy shit, thank you. I hope some of it made sense. And I hope you can do something good for yourself tonight, or whenever you're watching this, to show yourself some of that love. And next time you get a chance to interact with someone else, show them a little bit of love.